Ladies and gentlemen, we got to discuss something involving Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark was assaulted by the Connecticut Sun. Make no mistake about the situation. The physicality that they put on Caitlin on this play here midway through the third quarter was completely disgusting. This goes back to what we continue to discuss involving Caitlin Clark. The hate is at an all-time high. These women, have no business doing this to somebody like her. This woman is basically the flagship bearer for your league. Nobody, a lot of people wouldn't even be interested. Nobody would be concerned, and this is the thing she gets. Now, let me break down this play. Caitlin Clark, got poked in the eye by what was the young lady's name? I believe her name was Sheldon, Shelton or whatever for the Connecticut Sun. I thought that play was pretty egregious. It was disgusting in my part. Caitlin Clark stuck up for herself, which led to all of them, rushing her. And that was Jacey Sheldon who poked Caitlin Clark in the eyes. And then in turn, Mabrey came and knocked her to the ground. It looked like Tina Charles was about to stick one of them index fingers in the face of Caitlin Clark. A lot of people around the world are disgusted that Caitlin Clark was, basically nearly beat down. I want to know where was her teammates when all of this is going on. You got Caitlin Clark there. Nobody would give a damn about a lot of y'all if she wasn't present. She's bringing all of this stuff, and you guys on Indiana, you women, pardon me, y'all are receiving this stuff firsthand. So I would have liked to see somebody risk it and go in there and stick their nose in the middle of everything. That's just what I would have liked to have seen. But obviously we didn't get that for whatever reason. But it is what it is at the end of the day. It's flight sports. Caitlin Clark has came back, and just been terrific, since her return, just garnering all of these different types of viewership numbers, knocking things out the roof. I don't understand how anybody could even fathom some negative BS about her. I'm just keeping all the way real with you. People need to show her love. The fact that people are, doing this to her, not giving her the respect is bad. It's just bad. But this scuffle, obviously they're gonna say Marina Mabrey the scuffle, but I repeat, the Suns' Jacey Sheldon was guarding Indiana Fever superstar Caitlin Clark, who attempted to create separation from the defender by backing up into her. Sheldon swatted Clark in the face while attempting to poke the ball away, leading to Clark turning over the ball. Clark instantly covered her right eye and appeared to be in visible pain as Sheldon bumped into her again. Clark pushed Sheldon away from her, and Connecticut's Marina Mabrey responded by shoving Clark to the ground. So what a lot of people don't know, I want to repeat, Tina Charles, now her big self, she was gonna roll in there next. They was all gonna get a piece of Caitlin Clark. The only reason why it didn't go further on is because she fell to the ground. So it's saying there was a common foul was originally called on Sheldon. The incident was reviewed by the referees, who upgraded the foul on Sheldon to a flagrant foul type 1. A technical foul was called on Clark, Marbury, and the Suns' Tina Charles. Marbury's shove did not result in an ejection, which the broadcast announcer said is hard to believe. So it is kind of crazy how she got knocked down to the ground, but it got chippy. But bottom line was Caitlin Clark, she was physically, nearly beat down out there. She got to fight for her respect, because these women, they don't respect her. All these people are not happy that she's just, this hot commodity. People are not happy that she's the reason why all of this stuff went. A lot of people wish it was a collective, thing, but a lot of this has to do with Caitlin Clark and her basically emergence into superstardom and everything she's doing, and she's doing it on the floor. It's one thing to have the hype and all of the people behind you, but it's another thing to deliver, and Caitlin Clark is delivering in those moments. Who knows what she's gonna have tonight? night. We all know she put up a 30-plus ball, against the Indiana Fever. This game is far from over. They are in the driver's seat against the Connecticut Sun. Let's be honest with you. Connecticut is a shell of themselves. They lost everybody. They're no longer a threat. They're no longer a team that people look at as, one of the top squads. Last year, they had one of the better records, and to see, the fall off, I mean, it's just crazy. They got to get it together. They're 2-8. They're gonna be 2-9 when this is over. Indiana is balling, so all this hate got to stop. I thought that was unfair that they got so physical with Caitlin Clark because she could have been hurt, and that's one thing that here at Flight Sports we don't want to see nobody get hurt. That's one thing that we are not with. We will not condone injuries and stuff like that. That's something that we just are not going to condone. But it is what it is at the end of the day. Y'all let me know your thoughts on this situation. What was your thoughts when y'all seen this, from Caitlin Clark? What was your thoughts when it all went down? Because like I said, that thumb to the eye was crazy. She could have poked the eyeball out. So that easily could have happened. So just want to point that out to y'all. So y'all just need to pay attention. And Caitlin Clark, her safety also has to be held into account. Nobody wants to see Caitlin Clark get hurt, because we see what it is when she gets hurt. When Caitlin Clark gets hurt, nobody wants to, nobody wants to watch. So that's something that we don't want to see. We don't want to see that from Caitlin Clark. We don't want to see a situation where Caitlin Clark is no longer available for us, to view, because that would suck. It would really suck. So these refs got to do their job. Make sure that Caitlin Clark is not injured. Make sure that these women don't do nothing to her to where she's out for extent. Could you imagine if Caitlin got lost the eyeball? Or something like that. I mean, just think about it. Think about what that would have done for the league. Somebody got to get punished for something like this. I think, in my opinion, if they're willing to do this to Caitlin Clark, the woman that's pushing your league forward, I think that the league got to do something. Because now your interest is being compromised by your players. They don't care. They don't. They really don't care. About Caitlin Clark. And that sucks, but I'm gonna leave it at that. This Flight Sports TV. The Indiana Fever continue to shock everybody despite the hate. All Caitlin Clark got to do is keep balling out of control. Just control what you could control. That's all you have to do. And sometimes that's all we have to focus on. You can't focus on all these women liking you and things like that. Clearly, that's not the case. They don't like her. And that's not going to change. So y'all let me know your thoughts on the situation. It's Flight Sports TV. We're going to be bringing more news updates and more on this situation involving Caitlin Clark. It's a mess. This is just, that's all I can tell you, that this is just a complete, utter mess, to say the least. It's Flight Sports. We're going to be bringing more news updates and more. Peace and love.